Umbrella Academy showrunner, the guy who changed the entire show and scripts to accommodate someone going through a transition, is being accused of transphobia, bullying, and harassment. You couldn't make this shit up.
What?
Look,
there are whole articles praising the showrunner for accommodating Elliot's transition.
Even Ellen Page praised.
Like on.
I don't even care about the show, but I got to hear this story. This is juicy.
Oh, mate, it's so funny. I don't care about the show. It's so funny though. So the Umbrella Academy showrunner rebuffs expose. Guess where the expose is from? What outlet now is doing awful exposés and being basically a left-wing libtard?
Well, it says Hollywood Reporter at the top there, but I'm assuming they pulled the story from somewhere else.
What, like
the Rolling Stone?
That's it. Rolling Stone.
Oh, wow.
That was a wild stab in the dark, but I had a feeling it had to be probably Rolling Stone if it wasn't just some gay whatever pride.
Bloody Rolling Stone. So Rolling Stone did an expose. The showrunner of Netflix hit fantasy series The Umbrella Academy has pushed back on allegations reported in a Rolling Stone expose that detailed accusations of him creating a toxic and bullying environment that they say ultimately discriminated against women and transphobia. Steve Blackman, Steve Blackman, who co-created the fantasy series that went on to become Netflix's third most streamed show, is alleged to have bullied and harassed staff, and is alleged by the 12 anonymous sources in a Rolling Stone report that details his behavior as the Umbrella Academy's top dog as bullying and degrading. He's also accused in the report of firing a female writer who left for maternity leave upon her intended return with a month remaining in her contract. Based. Anyway, the allegations against Blackman mostly stem from an HR complaint made in early 2023 insulting staff in private after praising them publicly. That is professional. Right? If you're going to praise the people publicly and then you're going to pull them up for their unprofessional behavior behind closed doors, that's a professional thing to do, actually. To air everything out in a public manner is quite unprofessional, actually. So I don't see the issue with that. But then also says using their ideas, then giving them no credit or belittling tactics were some of his alleged behaviors, the magazine reports. It gets worse, by the way. Blackman, via his rep, issued a statement to Rolling Stone dismissing the accusations as those of disgruntled, discarded writers, which is not, I mean, writers are awful, so I can believe that they were just discarded because they're shit. Over 6 years and 4 seasons, overseeing thousands of crew, actors, and writers, Steve Blackman led the Umbrella Academy to become a beloved series with devoted fans, enthralling stories, and a dedicated team making it all possible. These allegations from a handful of disgruntled employees are completely false and outrageous and in no way reflect the collaborative, respectful, and successful working environment Mr. Blackman has cultivated. Oh, here we go. The Umbrella Academy star, Ellen Page, came out as transgender and non-binary in 2020, which garnered the show high praise when it was woven into the plot. It also came up in the complaints about Blackman. One of the accusers shared text from the showrunner that read, Ellen Page wants to come out as trans on the show as Ivan. Oh my fucking God, kill me now. I mean, that's pretty tame to what he could have said. And also, you would say that because, my God, the person wanted to come out as trans on a show. You got to rewrite the whole bloody scripts. What is the issue with saying, oh my effing God, kill me now? I've got to change everything to accommodate this person.
Put a chicken in and make it a dude.
Like, it's not, I don't get it. And it says this, Blackman, via his rep, addressed the text inclusion in his response, writing that frustration expressed on the matter was about the heavy lift that would come with reworking the already completed scripts. Quote, a complete rewrite under a wildly compressed timeline and the responsibility to handle this with sensitivity and care, said Blackman's rep. Page has herself expressed satisfaction with the manner and care of paralleling her transition journey with Victor's in the second season of the series. Quote, I think one of the most special things about this is how it's handled. So they were fine about it. So shut the piss up, mate.
You know what I think they should have done? They should have done what they insist on doing is since Ellen decided to be Elliot and is a man now, they should have been, well, I'm sorry to hear that you're a man now because we have to recast the role.
Yeah.
Because it's a woman. It's a role for a woman. So now another quote unquote white man has taken another role from a woman.
It's very bigoted.
Mhm.
Very bigoted. It gets worse and more hilarious, by the way, more pathetic. Other texts from Blackman mentioned in the article involve the alleged scheme to fire a writer, with the showrunner writing, "We have the perfect opportunity to jettison her via studio cover and replace," according to the magazine's sources. Another time, he allegedly spoke of a woman's breasts as her rack whilst texting a writer. Oh my God.
Oh my God. Jesus Christ.
Oh my God, you used the term rack.
Jesus.
What would you prefer mammary glands?
Right?
What the piss are we
Baby
doing?
feeders, is that okay? Can I say that?
Give me those lovely jubblies. Like, what? Let me.
Oh, for fuck's sake. No, it sounds like he accommodated as best they could, right?
Let me
Like, what the
motivate
hell
ya.
else could you do at this point? They bowed down and did everything. In fact, they ruined a lot of this for people who actually kind of liked the show, from what I heard.
Yeah. And there's not really much else, to be honest. There's like, he also credited himself as one writer on an episode, but then there was 4 other writers' names credited. Sure, fine, whatever. That's, fixed. Apparently, it was inappropriate and unprofessional remarks, used foul language and derogatory language. And that's about it. I mean, this
What
is just
type
lame.
of derogatory? See, this is what I hate about blanketed accusations.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't say. Well, apparently, they've used the only quotes we've got a rack,
Exactly. That's my point. Woo!
and also, "Oh my effing God, kill me now," when he's got to rewrite entire scripts or something.
Exactly. And like I said, they're well within, and whoever pointed it out, they're correct. They're well within their rights to fire Elliot and hire somebody else, like I just said.
Yeah.
And I would have ran into the press, been like, look, this is the way it is. We need a woman to play the role. Elliot's no longer a woman. We're observing the fact that they are no longer a woman and they are a man. So we wish them well in finding roles as a man, but we have to hire a woman to play this part now.
We
Because
are living
Hollywood
in a
says
freaking
so.
clown world. Freaking clown world.
And that's my point, is we need to start using the rules against them, the rules that they create. Otherwise, we're never going to get out of this.
I would have been canceled if I would have been this guy, because I would have been like,
Fuck off, right?
yeah, yeah, I would have been canceled. 100% canceled.
You and I both.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'll be done. Like, that's it. I'm gone. Like 6 feet under. Awful stuff. Well, you haven't spoken much, Culture. What do you reckon, bud? I'm done talking now, so you guys chit chat away. Do you want to unmute yourself, Culture?
I don't know why he's been muted all day.
I've been trying to unmute. I don't know what's going on.
Well, what you do is you press the unmute button.
Yes, but there's a keyboard shortcut that just keeps not working.
Why do you
Or
keep
just press the button
muting
then.
yourself in the first place?
Because he's flapping away or
just
something.
comment on this instead of getting picked on for not unmuting fast.
Well, hurry up then.
Anyway.
Let's all pick on Culture.
All right, real quickly. Look, I don't care about this show anymore. I mean, I stopped caring after the second season. I barely cared during the second season. And to me, this is a story about nothing. Anybody's going to be frustrated if they have to completely pivot to an entirely different direction. It's not really an expose at all. It's just, it's trudging up a bunch of nonsense. And that's all Rolling Stone does anymore. They've gone from becoming a wonderful commentary on the cultural scene that used to exist in the United States prior to the neo-Marxists taking over all of our entertainment, but to doing what they do now, which is just terrible virtue signaling articles that really have no cultural relevance or interest or in audience. And look, it should be embarrassing for them that this is the thing that they choose to pursue now. And, again, as we mentioned before we started this story, Elliot themselves was very grateful to the showrunner for making it possible to continue the show and becoming Victor or whatever the name is anymore. What I think is interesting is the show is even still moving forward, because there really isn't much audience for it left. So we'll have to see what the final chapter of this garbage fest is. But as far as my interest in this story, it began and it ended with the fact that it was pure nonsense. Pure nonsense.
Yeah, I mean, look, I was only half joking with my little, because Elliot is dating another they them dude, is my understanding, right? So like,
Yeah.
I liked her better when she was just a lesbian. In fact, I even had a lesbian friend who was a fan of this show, and she was kind of pissing and moaning about this whole thing about how it basically just sidelined the entire show. Like, that was what they said. This whole thing with this story kind of sidelined the entire show as far as the story and how it was going. And I'm like, well, that's what happens when you push all this agenda-driven bullshit into a show, right? Like, this is a prime example of it. And they even had a reason to do it just so they could keep who is arguably probably one of the more well-known actors on the show. Like, that's the only reason. Like, if I was a producer of the show right now, and I had to get myself out of this problem, if I made this choice, the only way I would be making this choice is because I know that Elliot Page or Ellen Page or whatever the hell they want to call themselves was one of the main draws of the show. But then you have to weigh that against, are they still going to be a draw now that they're a dude?
But they're not a draw anyway. They never have been.
Well, I'm just saying, I would argue on the Umbrella Academy, because there's what, like Ellen Page and there's only like one or two people that I've ever heard of before on the show.
Yeah, but you're not watching it really. I don't know. You're not watching it for them, to be honest.
No, but I'm just saying, as far as like, sometimes, okay, let me reframe this. Sometimes an actor can be a make or break for a project. A prime example, when Keke Palmer decided that she was going to go after Bill Murray in the press and cause a big disturbance, and what happened? All she did was get the entire fucking show shut down.
Yeah.
Because Bill Murray, even though he was part of an ensemble cast, was probably the linchpin of them getting the funding for that film. And once he was just, once they did what they did, then at that point they're like, well, then we don't want to be a part of this. It's done. It's over with. And that might have been one of the stipulations that, we got to keep Elliot because they are one of the things that got the show off the ground in the first place. I'm not going to take that away from Paige, because they are somebody who's been in the industry for the better part of almost 2 decades now or whatever. They are somebody who can get projects made. If you have a name like that attached to a project, it can get them off the ground, especially something like Umbrella Academy that is a lesser known ish kind of comic or whatever, to where, yeah, you get somebody like that involved, it'll help. But if you get rid of them now, like, we got to weigh those options. And honestly, like I said before, I stick with what I said in the first place. I would have just recast them.
Yeah, I would have, instantly.
And called their bluff at that point, because what are they going to do? They're going to go out in the press, they're going to piss and moan, but then you're just going to say, well, this is the way that their community views things now. And since Elliot decided to be a man, we wish them the best in the future on their endeavors and trying to be a male actor. But unfortunately, we need an actress for this role.
I would have been like, I don't want to work with this weirdo. Gone.
Well, what I said was a nicer way of saying that, basically.
I've never cared about this actress, Elliot Page. Never, not one day in my life. I've never seen this show. This is just more evidence of the weird, strange world that we live in today's times.
Yeah, goddamn, terrible stuff.
Yeah,
terrible
I'm
stuff.
looking at this cast here. She is like the only name in the cast that I can recognize.
Yeah. There's some comments here. So Dane C says Rolling Stones is on its cancel culture era. Yeah. Yes.
David Cross is the first name since hers that I recognize.
Yeah, it is on its cancel culture era. We'll move on now to some other super chats quickly. So